Hello, everybody, and welcome back to this wellness podcast. I am your host, Star Friedenberg, and welcome to the Come Make the Shiitake Up podcast. And for today, I want to just talk briefly, hopefully, around the subject because there's this trend going on at the moment where people are, which I find this the term or phrase used is quite funny and cute, but actually interesting because of the whole Oatzempic fad that's going on at the moment. But there's this trend going on that people are wondering if oatmeal drinks can actually help you with weight loss. So they're calling it the Oatzempic, which I thought was like, oh, that's quite funny. That's quite clever. I'll take that. That's punny. But sort of people are wondering, can this actually help? And so I thought I'd quickly talk about this. And the answer to me in summary is, I don't think so. I don't believe so because of what I know and understand about nutrition. But of course, what is fundamentally happening is that people are consuming something that has a little bit more fiber, something that's not as high in glucose. So if I'm thinking of a pastry or donut or croissant or a high cereal, sugar containing cereal, and they're switching it towards this. And this, for example, most often, if, because there is something called GI, glycemic index. If you have low GI foods, that means that it won't spike, your levels will last longer and you'll feel fuller for longer as a result, versus high GI, in which if you have instant oats or quick oats, these will spike your sugar levels and won't really achieve the function. But if you're going for the good old traditional rolled oats, and the oats basically have to cook for a long time in order to get them cooked, in order to get them edible, those are the ones you want to be working with. And so again, coming back from my Tibetan medical studies, there are certain body types that will benefit from having this, and of course there are certain body types that won't. And if you want to know if that's you or not, then of course contact me directly. But the premise is, on an overall basis, would I recommend this? I would say no, because this is not essentially the quick fix that you're looking for, and it's not necessarily sustainable. It's very lacking in variation of diet, and of course it's not nutritionally dense fundamentally, unless you're starting to add a lot of goods and things from it. So what's essentially happening is there's a blended oatmeal drink that people are using to support weight loss, which some people, as I say, call it the Oatzempic, and it's become this viral trend on social media. So oatmeal may help with weight management as part of a balanced diet, so again, as part of, but further research is necessary. So this is what's popped up, again, so it's flagging me to say, okay, this is a current theme. So on medical, one of my medical subscriptions, if you will. So people make Oatzempic by blending half a cup of oats, 1 cup of water, and then juice from half a lime until the mixture is smooth. So sometimes they may add spices, cinnamon, etc. for flavor. But of course, when you're thinking about lime will help alkalize the body. Water, fundamentally, no one's getting water to start with. If you listen to a couple of my podcasts, that's one of the biggest lacking pillars that people have. So it's getting people to get hydration. And again, they're swapping out, hopefully, from a very high GI breakfast or meal, for something a lot more retained and a lot less calorific. So of course I can see why weight loss is happening. And then extra cinnamon flavors, that's not going to have a major effect. But if you ask cinnamon specifically, cinnamon is known to increase weight loss as well. But of course you'll need to be consuming this quite regularly, and a pinch is not going to do much. We're talking about greater quantities. So this is what this episode is about, is, exploring the research surrounding the oatmeal combination of weight loss, health considerations, and then actual tips for losing weight safely. Right. So I haven't been able to find any specific research into the effects of consuming oatmeal drinks, is Oatzempic on weight loss. So I'm just going with the basis of what I know and see and understand from my own personal experience. Despite some proponents' claims, replacing breakfast with an oatmeal drink is not likely to promote rapid weight loss or similar effects to glycagon-like peptide-1 receptor agonists, the GLP-1 agonists, which is including Oatzempic. However, a 2023 review notes that several clinical studies have highlighted that oats may help manage body weight and control appetite. They may also help strengthen the immune system, lower cholesterol, and promote gut microbiota. And of course, the biggest one in terms of gut world is that it is a source of fiber as well, dietary fiber, so that can help as well. So getting the digestive system moving, helping to bind excess bits that are in the system and then effectively excreting them. So beta-glucan is the primary active ingredient in dietary fiber present in oats. So when this combines with water, it becomes a gel-like substance that can help to slow digestion. So this may make someone feel full and also help reduce their appetite, which may in turn contribute to gradual weight loss. However, it's important to note that some of the studies included in the review found that eating oats had little to no effect on appetite control. So again, further research is necessary. So some people can feel the benefit of eating oats, and some people, it just goes through their system and, they're completely hungry as well. So as part of a balanced diet, oatmeal drinks may help with weight management. Oat-based alternatives to oatmeal drinks that a person may also want to try and include overnight oats and porridge as well. And when we talk about the health considerations, always as a fundamental pillar, it's important to exercise caution regarding the diet trends, right? To promote rapid weight loss, because, every year or every few months there's something new. And of course now Oatzempic, Manjaro, these are the huge things that are supporting weight loss. What's the next trend without factoring in what are the potential long-term health consequences, that people are intentionally ignoring or turning a blind eye to. And of course, because there's not enough, time to determine the outcome or the long-term outcome of certain effects of taking certain things or injecting certain things, there's nothing enough to scare people at this point in time. So I just always think stick to the good old ways, and that can sort of help you in the long term or in the long game. The CDC, so the Centers for Disease Prevention and Control, notes that individuals who lose weight gradually, which is around 1 to 2 pounds each week, so maybe about, 1 to 2 pounds, about a kilo a week, are more likely to keep the weight off than others who lose weight rapidly. Things are not always sustainable. And additionally, it's important to consider the potential health risks of restrictive eating habits, such as not having insufficient calorie intake, which may lead to malnutrition and a weakened immune system, hormonal imbalance, which may lead to irregular periods, and in extreme cases, infertility, psychological distress as well, which may promote disordered eating behaviors. So people should always speak to a healthcare professional before significantly changing their diet, because sometimes going off certain things or not incorporating certain things can have a huge effect. And this really screams at me when I think about people that I deal with. ADHD as a really good key example. And then it's just bringing me back to the whole premise around social media and mental health. So, a person may want to consider the effects on social media on their mental health, because what fads are going on, we're doom scrolling, we're getting stuck, we're seeing only the good sides as we only do on social media, or the extreme opposite ends. But we're always seeing look what's happened to me, my success rate, and you see the 1% group. And then you go on to this, and then actually can have a lot of negative effects on you. So I always think when you're working with your health, try always work in conjunction with a professional, because they can lead you down, hopefully, but ideally, the straight and narrow to know what's the best for you, rather than you making a lot of mistakes and a lot of irreparable mistakes as well. It's also interesting to know that research from 2023 has suggested that the exposure to hegemonic beauty ideals on social media has been associated with feelings of body dissatisfaction in young adults. So even then, another tip might be just to actually take a break from social media, because that can also positively enhance your mental health, rather than getting stuck in these trends, must-dos, everyone's doing it, having this FOMO, YOLO kind of experience, and also getting caught up in mistakes that are getting made, because it's only after all the damage has been done then you go, oh, can I reverse it? Is it possible? And I do think like the extreme cases of excessive aesthetics that are being done now, with the lip fillers, cheek fillers, BBL, facelift, cat eyes, I don't know, excessive extremes that, it's really difficult to get your body back to. And I do see that with a lot of celebs, because I don't know at the moment if I'm just getting older or what it is, but, I'm watching films and I'm seeing all of these celebrities that are now in their later years, and I'm just shocked by how their facial transformation has become. And I'm gonna say in the last few days was Meg Ryan. I thought when there was an advert she was doing, and I thought, whoa, what's happened? Nicole Kidman, I thought, whoa, she's just coming out on some of the new movie, and also Courtney Cox from Friends. I just thought, there's something that's happened in their face, maybe, surgery, cheekbone lift, fillers, but it's unfortunately taken away from their original look, that, the face shape to me. And I think Madonna as well, I can also put in there, but she hasn't been in my last week, but just so significantly different. It's kind of like, were you not happy with yourself? Do you regret, significantly changing your look? I don't know. But we just want to express caution when you go into these things. And I don't know if you're going to Google now. Anyway, going to up the search bar for these celebs. But yeah, so that's just sort of what my thought processes are, is just try not to do something that's going to harm. And if you don't know and you think it sounds good, rather just get a professional to give you a second opinion, because maybe it doesn't work for you. And if you come back to me, it's like, do you have a gluten intolerance or / allergy to gluten? So, be mindful of that as well. And to sort of, conclude on this is saying, my opinion, I don't really recommend this Oatzempic drink. But of course, if you have a really not great ritual and routine and diet and fiber and water, and you're only eating junk, ultra processed foods for breakfast, this is going to be a comfortable replacement, but not a whole meal replacement for the rest of the day as well. So sort of just to come back in about, if you want to lose weight, and to lose weight, and I'm going to use the word safely, here are a couple of tips that, have been picked up by the CDC as well, to recommend for safe and effective weight loss. So one is, make a commitment to yourself by writing down the reasons why you want to lose weight. You want to sort of see where's the motivation, because the motivation is what's going to keep you going through the process. Number 2 is about keeping a food and beverage diary for a few days, so that you become more aware of what you're eating. And believe it or not, most people don't realize things, which, has, in my time, in the beginning at least, shocked me. It's like, oh, I'm not eating any sugar. And then it's like, oh, I just had cookies for breakfast, or I had a cereal, or I had 5 cereal bars or something like that. And it's like, oh, that's a lot of sugar. That's not really healthy. Are you aware of that? And most people are not. So if you start to write down, you become more conscious, and maybe out of the program, because maybe you might be comfort eating, or, see the quantity you're eating, seeing when you're eating as well. And then also consider how your lifestyle is, your work, your social commitments. Because of course, I think of a lot of people in socially interactive jobs. I think about recruiters, they have to go out all day and basically charm people and they take them for dinners and then parties and alcohol, especially business dinners within the corporate cycle, it can get quite rowdy. And then there's events and parties and dinners, etc. So it can be quite busy. So just seeing how that can be incorporated into your lifestyle as well as sort of fastened and tightened. And I think of a client at the moment, she literally lives in hotels for her job because as a consultant going everywhere, left, right and center. So you think, okay, access to the, you get a per diem, you can eat whatever you want. And it's wonderful when you're staying in a fantastic hotel. Of course, you want to try the 5-star desserts, right? So you're just being mindful of that. Well, at least that's me anyway. So, and then also just being mindful of your chronic health condition, because that can also affect habits. I think about the diabetes, blood sugar levels, you need to eat more regularly as well. And you can't have certain foods that's just going to spike your sugar levels. Right. Then the next one is about setting 2 or 3 goals at a time with rewards upon completion. I'm a huge fan of this. I call it, I need a carrot, so I can know I can work really hard, keep my head down till I reach a carrot, and then I get the next one. Otherwise, there's no motivation to keep me going. And the premise is that these need to be specific, realistic, and always account for setbacks. It does happen. Things happen. Life happens. And being not strict in the sense that you're going to be judgmental, you're going to be harsh, learning to be more forgiving towards yourself, because you are your best friend and you need to love yourself, and you got to talk to yourself like you are your best friend, right? And not being hard and critical. So, and not being over ambitious and impractical, going like, oh, I'm going to run 7 days a week. No, it's like, try walking 15 minutes for at least 3 days a week, that kind of thing, right? Number 4 would be about identifying people who will support you in your weight loss efforts, such as loved ones, support groups, healthcare professionals. You need people in your corner because it's not an easy process. We are a species that thrive on community. So involve your community and try get the sabotagers out, right? Because you do have them. When I was a kid, I watched this program. I forgot what it's called. It's called Fat Lovers, Fat something, and it was basically Fat Feeders. That's what it was called, and it was basically about a couple where one person loved to feed the other person, but to an extreme case that they were bedridden. Couldn't even fit outside the house. If they had to get on their legs would snap. And there was just some unhealthy dynamic because, they didn't want the person to ever leave them or something like that. But fascinating. So, you don't want a feeder, you want a supporter. And the last point is about revisiting the goals regularly, evaluate your progress, your process, do you need to change things up, sort of having your own team meeting, or even if you're working with a professional, and just see if you're meeting goal, reward that progress. And then once you have, then try set a new one. So you just keep yourself sort of on the path. And most important, don't reward yourself with a cake or a cookie, right? Do something that's non-food related as well. It's like, oh, I've done really well, and then you go and get like a big McDonald's or like, I don't know, a buffet or something. I don't know, I'm just using examples, or a big chocolate cake. So, and other tips to safely lose weight will include, again, just the basics, eating more nutrient dense and nutrient rich foods, fruits, vegetables, whole grains that contain vitamins, minerals, fiber, dietary fiber, eating less foods that are high in fat, added sugar and salt, exercising regularly, of course, and finding healthier ways to cook, such as baking, grilling, steaming instead of deep frying your foods, and limiting alcohol intake because that is really, really intense on the sugar. And then it wipes out your gut and it dehydrates you and it hurts your liver. And it's just a lot to take on. So I'm really enjoying this whole, I don't drink. I haven't drank for many, many years. It's very rare. I'll probably, if I have to for some sort of occasion, I'll have a glass of something, but I'll have 1 or 2 sips and that's about it. But I'm enjoying that there's a huge global shift to more of a sober culture. And I'm going to keep promoting it. But back to this, oatmeal drinks for weight loss. Oatzempic. Love the name. I don't love the theory behind it. There's not enough to support that it does what it does. I just think it's just taking people out of a bad routine and putting them into a new one that, when you compare apples to apples, this new routine is better. But it will help if you support it as part of a balanced diet. But again, research. But I don't really think they're going to invest in that. But yeah, so all I can say is there's no premise behind, there's no sort of basis behind it. But of course, if you're going to have oatmeal, can help you with managing your body weight and control your appetite, possibly. And of course, always my basis is always speak with a healthcare professional before significantly changing your diet, and especially if you want to lose weight safely. All right, so that's all for today. Let me know what you think. I'd love feedback. I'd love fan feedback, fan mail. And yeah, and just, if you've tried it, if you've done it, you've been thinking about doing it, you've been umming and ahhing, my sort of overall conclusions is, let's review first, and maybe we can make different types of changes, and maybe this isn't the fundamental best one for you. Subject to a blood test for allergies and intolerances, because like I say, almost 100% of the time people show positive for problems with gluten. So it's quite all right. So that marks the end of this episode. So again, if you were interested in Oatzempic, Stark gives it an overall thumbs down, and research according to Western terms as well is basically saying that there's not enough research to provide a wavering opinion. So that marks the end of our episode. So thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's, raised some thought processes around it or given you something to think about. And I want to wish you well wherever you are in the world, and looking forward to welcoming you back to next week's episode. Sending you lots of love. Over and out. Bye.